Your ability to live well on this planet is essentially how well you can harness this body and this mind. Yes or no? So if you have to harness this the way you want it, it's very important. There is a little space between you and the body. There is a little space between you and the mind. Whatever suffering, any kind of suffering that you have known in your life has entered you either through the body or through the mind. Do you know any other kind of suffering? Do you know any other kind of suffering? Physical suffering, mental suffering. There's only two things you know, isn't it? If a little distance arises between you and the body, between you and the mind, this is the end of suffering. Once there is no fear of suffering, only then you will explore the full depth and dimension of this life.
So, one thing we want to do is, we are bringing this what's called as Isha Kriya, which gives you a distance between you and your thought, between you and your body. If people experience this for 2 minutes a day, their lives will change. Definitely, I'm telling you. Once they know the freedom of it, you will not like anything. You will not like any drink or drug or whatever, because it is a much big high than that. Much, much big high than anything that you have seen. So one of the resolutions that you take, I meditate.
Today, I'm going to share with you one beautiful verse from Atmabodha. This text, Atmabodha, was written by none other than Bhagwan Adi Shankara. This verse talks about the error that gets committed in the state of ignorance. It talks about the mistake that majority of the people, I would say 99.99% people of this world commit. The verse goes like this: Dehendriya gunan karmani amale satchidatmani adhyasyanti avivekena gagane neelatadivat. In English, the translation goes like this: just as children in ignorance attribute the blue color to the sky, in the same way, fools superimpose the qualities of body and mind on the self, which is of the nature of pure consciousness, pure existence. They do this because they lack in their power of discrimination. They do this because they are not able to discriminate between what is real and what is unreal. Now allow me to explain this verse to you. In this verse, Bhagwan Shankara compares an ignorant person, a person who doesn't know anything about the self is the ignorant person. So here Bhagwan Shankara compares this ignorant person with children. He says that just as children attribute the blue color to the sky, when in truth the sky has no color, similarly, the ignorant person attributes the quality of body and mind on the self, which is pure consciousness, which is pure existence. Now, a little knowledge of the basic science tells you that the sky has no color. It appears blue because of scattering of light, right? But children who are unaware of this consider the blue color to be the property of the sky. Blue color has nothing to do with the sky. Not only the color blue, but also the conditions like concavity, misty looks, murkiness, these are considered as the conditions of the sky, when it is not at all true. Though the sky appears to have all these conditions, but the truth is that it has none of them. In the same way, people, out of sheer ignorance, superimpose the qualities of body and mind on the self, which is of the nature of pure consciousness and pure existence. All imperfections belong to the body and mind, and there are none in the self. But because of lack of discrimination, ignorant person attributes these imperfections to the self. The body passes through the process of birth, growth, decay, death, and the ignorant person attributes these to the self. Anger, greed, jealousy, hatred, they all exist in the mind, but ignorant person attributes these as well to the self. Bhagwan Shankara says, "You are the self, immortal and pure, devoid of all imperfections. But because of ignorance of your real self, because of ignorance of your real nature, you identify with body and mind." So whatever happens in body and mind, you superimpose that on yourself, on the real you. See, whatever happens in body, it happens in mind, but it is known by the self, by the real you. Now this is very deep. You need to understand this. Whatever happens in the body, let's say you feel hungry. Now, who feels hunger? The self, the real you cannot feel hunger. It is perfect. It's infinite. What shall the infinite being eat? So, who feels hungry? The body, right? But the body cannot feel the hunger because it's just a lump of flesh and bones. It just cannot feel anything. So you see, body has hunger, the body needs food, but the body doesn't know anything about it. It's known by the real you, by the consciousness. You are the knower. Similarly, whatever happens in the mind, the state of anger, jealousy, greed, hatred, it's all known by the real you, the consciousness. Now these things like anger, jealousy, greed, hatred, they cannot exist in the infinite being. Who shall the infinite being hate? Tell me. But these qualities of the mind cannot be known by the mind, because mind is also inert. It's lifeless. Just as the body, it is also part of nature, the Prakriti. But because the self, the real you, function through it, it appears to be alive. So what does this all show? It shows that there is a gap between the real you, the consciousness, and the body-mind complex, which in other words means you are not the body, you are not the mind, you are the pure consciousness.